Hello there, great person, and welcome back to Let's Dive into Warhammer 40k. Today I will watch a video called The Hidden and the Word Lovecraft in 40k, Part 1, Beyond 40k. I don't know how much this is 40k, but I have seen Lovecraftian influences so much in this series. I wanted to do this video since like 4 days after I started reacting to this stuff, and I always put it off because it was not the time. But now I really want to watch it. I can't wait to see what the Ember King is going to say about it, and I've not had a reaction to him, I think, before. So we will have some great new stuff today with that as well. So before we start, as always, consider liking the original video first and watch it. And if you like this reaction, consider liking and subscribing here as well. Also, I've started a new little horror series on No Sleep. If you want to check it out, it's going to be probably a very long-running one, more book-like, I think, than what I normally write. So if you want to go along, yeah, there are some Easter eggs hidden in the story as well. So if you do some internet digging, you might have some fun as well. But I will post it in the description and pin it anyway. So Lovecraft. I'm a big Lovecraft fan. I think Lovecraft is the best horror author next to Junji Ito that there is. I love both of them to death. My favorite story is Whisperer in the Darkness for horror and Shadow Out of Time for story and world building. Love both of them. Not that much of a fan of Cthulhu, actually. Like the story itself, like I love the idea. But I always thought Cthulhu was like this weird in-between god thing, which was like not as cosmic, scary as Azathoth or Yog-Sothoth or something like that. Like he was just like this weird tentacle dude. Because he had a body, you could like ram a ship into him and then he was gone. Like that I always was like, this doesn't really fit the theme of cosmic horror, because yeah, you can ram a ship into him. Like probably can just shoot a rocket at him and then he's gone and sleeps again. Like what? But yeah, the story itself was cool, and we will see what influences from Lovecraft we have here in Warhammer 40k. And let's start the video. Just wanted to give you some background information about my thoughts on Lovecraft first. And of course, as always, we will analyze this. I will pause, and I hope it's okay. And let's go. H.P. Lovecraft. I love Lovecraft. So cool. Brilliant writing. Ooh, the window. I'm sorry. Hope you got that reference. You probably did. Good old Dagon. Also great story. There's a good game about that as well. I once played that on a live stream, I think. It's like 15 minutes, but it's cool. Visual novel game. Very nice. Okay, so we're in a cathedral. Please tell me stuff. Oh, we're in Bloodborne now. Okay, this looks very Bloodborne.
Come to confess your sins.
Oh yes, I have.
Ah, child. I don't suppose you read that book I gave you.
Why?
I have.
And?
I have seen the dark universe yawning, where the black planets roll without aim, where they roll in their horror unheeded,
Ah, nice.
without knowledge or luster or name.
Sorry to interrupt here. Lovely passage. He's probably talking about black holes or dark planets, or like very dead stars, like black dwarfs. All those three are black spheres in space that will kill you if you run into them. So very scary. Like imagine that, like suddenly, like you've got these long range sensors or whatever, and suddenly there's this object coming in, but you can't see it, and it's getting closer and closer and closer, and planets in its wake disappear, and then it comes close, and it is one of those three, and it will kill us. Whatever. You know, that's horrific. Good.
Remember, my child, madness is the only freedom.
Oh, yes. Yeah, great. Wouldn't Azathoth be a chaos god, though? Like, wouldn't the Lovecraft god, like I'm just thinking, like Warhammer is set in our universe, so there is Lovecraft, or was Lovecraft in the Warhammer universe, and people might have believed in them down the line, like when space started, and the stories might have been distorted more. Like, is that where the ideas of chaos gods came from for humans? Like, wouldn't there, like, imagine they would be the chaos god, like Azathoth for reality, Yog-Sothoth, I don't know what he's for. I think dreaming and time, but I might be wrong. Whatever. Loading. Oh, lovely music. Eerie vibe as well. What are you loading, mate? It's so eerie. I love this. Whatever instrument this is, tell me please. Like this 80s reverb, I love it. I find that very scary, like very techno-y. So, what's going on, mate? What are you gonna tell me today? I mean, that is a Kraken or a Cthulhu.
Fear, dread, the horror at the unexplainable.
Yep.
Themes that are present in the universe of Warhammer 40k.
That's
shaping
true, yeah.
and moulding the experience that is the grim, dark future. I'm sure there are many like me who were introduced to Warhammer through the link of the infamous gothic sci-fi writer H.P. Lovecraft.
Were you? Like, a serious question to you. Tell me in the comments, were you, like, through Lovecraft introduced into this? Like, he says fear of the unknown, but I don't know. Yes, there is unknown, but it's more fear of society and other races and stuff. Which, yeah, I know that sounds racist, but I mean, that's supposed to be racist in Warhammer 40k. Like, that's the basic point. Like, it's all weird. And, like, this unexplainable horror is only chaos, I guess. I would assume, right?
For those who have a love of both genres of work, there are some overt and hidden inspirations that appear in the 40k universe. One of the greatest aspects of Lovecraft's writing was his ability to describe the human emotion of fear. A lot of his writings were born from his own neurosis. As a very anxious and paranoid person who was often racked by night terrors and sleep paralysis.
That is true, I think. I mean, of course, I'm sorry why I'm commenting like this. Of course, that's true. But I've heard that before. Like, Lovecraft had many nightmares. Like, I think nightmares are a very, very powerful tool for creative writing in horror. Because in your nightmares, sometimes you face what you fear most. And if you can, like, recreate that in writing, it's very powerful. Like, my first horror stories as well were based on dreams I had. Like, some of them one-to-one almost. And I think some of them are scary. I mean, but yeah, and I've heard that Lovecraft himself was a very vivid dreamer, and yeah, he was psychotic a bit. I think he was very reclusive, did not have many friends, was a bit unpleasant and weird. So yeah.
One of his greatest fears was that of the sea, to be lost in an almost unending stretch of water, nothing to cling to. Floating on a possibility of underwater horrors swimming around in the dark depths.
Yeah, and that as well, like, there are many parallels between the ocean and space. And I don't have to get into this now. You know what I mean, so I really like that. So Lovecraft would have probably been a great writer for cosmic, like, space horror, like, with spaceships and stuff, so.
He feared the unknown of what lay in wait.
Yes.
This fear of the unknown is one of the most dominant themes in Lovecraft's work, and he has even been credited with the creation of a new subgenre of horror, known as Lovecraftian horror.
Is Lovecraftian horror cosmic horror? I think it is.
Lovecraftian horror is described as such: the fear and awe we feel when confronted by phenomena beyond our comprehension, whose scope extends beyond the narrow field of human affairs and boasts of cosmic significance.
Yeah.
A contemplation of mankind's place in the vast, comfortless universe revealed by modern science, in which the horror springs from the discovery of the appalling truth. A naturalistic fusion of horror and science fiction, in which presumptions about the nature of reality are eroded.
Yeah, I really love that kind of horror. Like, that's so cool how he probably just read a dictionary definition, but doesn't matter. It was very cool what he said. I like that. That's what I like. Like, there are very good stories. I don't know, would Dune count? I don't think Dune would count. Like, you have to have this realistic setting where you're like, okay, they were just scientists and they do stuff, and suddenly this weirdness starts and they discover something that's so beyond weird. A bit like, do you know the movie Sphere? I don't, is it Sphere? I don't even know if it's Sphere. It's like a crashed spaceship they try to uncover, and then there's the sphere inside, and the sphere is starting to do weird shit. Like, that's my stuff. Stuff like that. That is also very Lovecraftian. Love that. Oh, we're back with these two. Fear of the unknown. I love that fear of the unknown, but you can only do that much with it, I think.
You have had a revelation, child. Now tell me of fear.
The oldest and strongest emotion of mankind is fear. And the oldest and strongest kind of fear is fear of the unknown.
I love that quote, though. Is that true? I think fear and anger are both very primal. I think interest and happiness and fear and anger are, like, biologically and neurologically speaking, the primal emotions. And you probably did not want to hear that, but don't know why I said that. It's probably, but I like the fear of the strongest fear is the fear of the unknown. I think it's not like, yes, but also the unknown and things you don't understand and that are not adhering to what you expect. Like, not unknown, but unpredicted as well. Like, things that you think, okay, this is going to happen, and something weird and strange and different happens, and it just makes no sense, but it's threatening in a way. That's the fear. I don't know if that's meant with fear of the unknown. I think it's a different fear that I'm describing. Fear of the unknown is just, okay, there's a void, and there might be, like imagine you are in a room and there's this door, and the door is completely dark, and you look into the darkness, and you know there's something in there, something looking back at you. That's the fear of the unknown, because you think, what could be there? So I think that's a different fear than the one I was describing before. I like the one from before a bit more even, but yeah, unknown is bad. Unknown's very bad. Like uncanny valley things, that's... Bleh. Oh, hello, weird demon child.
Being afraid of things you do not understand is a prominent theme in the grim dark future. The story that best illustrates this theme is the Dunwich Horror.
Yeah.
In the isolated, desolate, decrepit village of Dunwich, Wilbur Whately is a hideous son of Lavinia Whately, a deformed and unstable albino mother. Their father is unknown. The events surrounding the conception of Wilbur is a mystery to the frightened neighbours of Dunwich.
Wasn't that Nyarlathotep or something like that? I'm pretty sure the weird Dunwich asshole was born from an eldritch god.
Wilbur matures at an abnormal rate, reaching manhood within a mere decade, but he is shunned and feared due to his odd and ugly appearance. Various locals grow suspicious after old Whately buys more and more cattle, yet the number of his herd never increases, and the
Where did the cattle go?
Cattle in his field become mysteriously afflicted with severe open wounds.
Yeah, strange.
During long cold nights, locals begin to hear haunting sounds coming from the Whately's barn. Something was inside. They could not see what monstrosity created these bone-chilling sounds, but only hear it, allowing the images of dread to come from their imagination.
Yeah.
Year by year, this unseen entity grows to monstrous proportions, requiring Wilbur and his grandfather to make frequent modifications to their residence.
Yeah.
People begin to notice a trend of cattle mysteriously disappearing. Then, Wilbur's grandfather dies. His mother disappears soon afterwards.
Yes.
The colossal entity eventually occupies the whole interior of the farmhouse. With the death of Wilbur Whately at Miskatonic University, there is no one left to attend to the mysterious creature in the farmhouse.
Yeah. I never was a fan of the Dunwich horror that much because it was too normal. I know that sounds weird, like what he says is weird, but it's like, okay, obviously he's just got a monster in his barn. You know what I mean? It's no, like, there's no intriguing stuff about it. Like, back when it was released, this was groundbreaking. Like, this was not a thing before, but nowadays that's like your typical horror story. Like, nothing special about that, except that it was made from whatever, other Toth, whatever.
Early one morning, the Whately farmhouse explodes, and this thing was an invisible monster and rampages across Dunwich, cutting a path through fields, trees and ravines, leaving huge prints the sizes of tree trunks.
Yeah, and that's that as well. The fact that it was just invisible, like it wasn't unfathomable, it was just invisible. So yeah, okay.
The monster eventually makes its way to inhabit.
What the fuck is that? Look at it. Like, this is what the fuck? Why? Why? It looks so dopey, so stupid. I mean, just shoot it, mate.
Areas. This invisible creature terrorizes the town for several days.
Though I like the artwork,
two
it's cool.
families and several policemen, until Dr. Armitage and Professor Warren Rice and Dr. Francis Morgan from Miskatonic University arrive. They had the knowledge and the weapons needed to kill it.
How though? That again, you kill it. Why? How can you kill it? That cheapens it. Don't kill it. You can't kill it. You have to like make it go away into space or something.
The use of a magic powder renders it visible, just long enough to send one of the crew into shock. The barn-sized monster screams for help, in English, just before the spell destroys it, leaving a huge burned area. The dread of this story is brought from the fact that we, the reader, imagine the creature to be more terrifying than anything we can put into words.
I never had that. I never had that with Dunwich horror. I had that with things like Shadow Out of Time, the Migo, the Eldritch Gods like Azathoth and stuff like that, or the Shoggoth even though they were described pretty well. I always had the feeling there, but this is like, yeah, okay, it's... Yeah, he looked at it and he died. Fine.
For H.P. Lovecraft, this very fear of creatures that we could not see or protect ourselves from came from that very childhood fear.
Oh yeah, I think that's Azathoth.
Don't you feel it too? The emptiness, but yet claustrophobic sensation alone in the water. In the darkness below the waves, you are watched by things that move with speed greater than yours.
Yeah, that's basically what I said about the open door.
Eyes watching you, belonging to creatures possibly larger and older than you.
Yeah, that's
it's
a
that
Shoggoth.
uncomfortable tingle down your spine.
Why am I here? Oh, please, no, Mr. Shoggoth. I'm sorry.
Accompanied by that increase of thumping in your chest. Dread.
I know
he's
doing this brilliantly. I'm sorry, I know too much Lovecraft. This is cute. Oh yeah, hello Slanesh. Or warp or whatever.
This very theme fear of a dreaded ocean in which we have no power in front of the inconceivable and terrifying is shown in the ocean that is the Immaterium in Warhammer.
And it's done brilliantly. And I think the Immaterium is like one up on Lovecraft in this regard. Because of the points I just mentioned, like, yes, stuff emerges from there. Yes, it's horrific shit that's emerging from there. But the Immaterium itself is like this realm entity thing that might have shape and color, but you might not understand it, and it might change, and it's so weird. It's not like, oh, the invisible monster will stop you down. Like, this is so much more harrowing, and like the effect it has on the souls of people, like that alone, like the soul-sucking aspect, and connected with very well-written science fiction stuff. And I love the Immaterium so much, and that's why I think, in that regard, Fear of the Unknown, if you call it like that, it is like the Immaterium is a step up from Lovecraft's myth. Though what is missing from Immaterium is like this thing beyond, like Azathoth. You know, but other than that, I think Immaterium is like, if you take Cthulhu, Nyarlathotep and stuff like that, I think Immaterium is a bit cooler because it's more versatile and more horrifying.
The Warp. A mirror dimension of pure energy. A sea of the discordant emotions of the sentient races of the material universe. Warp space is without form, and the laws of time and space do not apply there. For both size and time are simultaneously infinite and irrelevant within the warp. This sea of emotion flows and disturbs like tides and ripples.
Sorry, I know I pause a lot in this. It's just something I love. Like, I love this subject so much. So, I also think that making it like a realm without space and time, but with emotion, like, you get the feeling that it, like, you get a bit of, okay, it's like something like that. Like, it's a very, 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 very vague shape. Like, you can place it a bit, what this is, the immaterium, because it says here it's emotion, not time and space. It's emotional, energetic thing stuff. Sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean, you know? It's like, it's a very, very, very roughly framed, and that makes you think, okay, I understand the idea. I can roughly feel what it is, but I can't feel what it is because it's so conceptually different. Like, you know? That's why I love it as well. It's so brilliant.
Allowing those tuned to it to travel across vast distances of space, but they do not travel these esoteric roads alone. For indescribable creatures constructed of pure emotion prey upon the souls that enter the dimension upon death.
And sorry, I just thought of something as well. Like, that's like, I love that as well. I sometimes do that in my stories as well, and they do it as well here. The idea of using emotion growing into your world through like weird shit imagery, like weird contorted creatures or whatever, but an underlying emotional theme that you can feel behind, like these, like in Nurgle's fat asses, like, because Nurgle is gluttony or whatever, so they're all like this fat and disgusting, and you know it, but it's emotion made into shape, and I love it. That's why I love it so much. Like, it's like, I love that kind of horror, like this emotion brought into imagery.
To travel
so
through
fun.
its tides
so
outside of the safety of the Emperor's light is to be surrounded by unknown formless horrors, that only in our ignorance are we protected from the dreaded truth. For those that stray into the rough tides, they are trapped inside a metallic tomb, where the cracks and creaks and thuds remind you of the danger that you cannot see.
No, too soon.
Much like the Whateleys in the farmhouse.
Yeah.
One example of a warp creature is the Enslavers. Warp dimensional beings that do not possess true physical bodies, but appear to exist in the immaterium, knowing no true form.
Yeah, that's
when
cool.
When encountered, they pose a terrible threat to all living creatures with their mind-controlling abilities.
What the fuck is that? Look at it. Look like it's a space whale spider asshole. Oh my god, that's so terrifying. Wow, imagine that just emerging in front of you, like, and the ocean metaphor is so great because it has ripples here. I love it. Great picture.
These victims of this mental control retain all of their basic faculties, knowledge and physical attributes, even when under the control of the enslavers. But victims of the enslavers become helpless and complete puppets to their alien master's will, and perform even the most self-destructive actions without hesitation.
Wow.
Many of these experiences rightfully inflict dread. But what turns that dread into pure fear is the revelation of entities on a power that exists on such a chasm between us and them. They are called gods.
Yeah, okay. I like it so much. I think I've heard about enslavers once before in Luton's videos, but I don't know when. Just forgot. But yeah, like, imagine your body can be controlled, like just your body, not your soul. Like, it's like the inverse of soul control. Like, you understand everything what's happening with your body, what it does, but you can't do anything. Like, it speaks for you, it blinks for you, it digests for you, it slashes at people for you, it hits for you, but you can't do anything. You're just there, can't do anything. It's so horrific. It's like body paralysis, but worse.
4 incomprehensible creatures constructed of the excesses of our own inner thoughts, who bend the immaterial sea around them to create realms of corruption.
You've got Khorne, the Lord of War, Master of Bloodlust. You've got Siege, the Intriguing One, You've got Sinesh, the Prince of Lust, and you've got Nurgle, Nurgle, Nurgle cooking a soup of pain and death, pain and death. Yeah, we know the story.
Home to even more deformed creatures, taking on their forms of our worst nightmares.
Yeah.
These immaterial beings have
well.
no allegiance to time or perception that humans are capable of rationalizing. In this dreaded sea, we are confounded by the dread we experience through our own ignorance of what we do not understand.
And what we suppress, which is even worse. Like it's not only what you don't understand, what you suppress will get you. And that is very true. Like, if you suppress something, it will come to fuck you. It will. Like, if you have some thing you have not worked through, and you try to like push it to the back of your mind all the time, there will be one day. It might be in a dream. It might be in a situation where you completely collapse or shut down. It will get you. And I'm speaking like, I'm not like making stuff up right now. Like, that's how it happens. Like, that's just an effect. And they've seen that like in psychology for a long time. That's why you should never repress things. Like, they will always come back to haunt you 1,000-fold if you do that. Like, you face your fears. You have to do that, or otherwise, like, you're fucked. Like, not completely, of course. Like, it's not as bad as they make it out in. Like, it's not like you are a complete slave to Nurgle or whatever, but it's like, it will hunt you down. If you suppress stuff, it will get you. Oh, we are back with these two. Knowledge and madness, yeah. Knowledge can lead to madness. I love that trope. I want to know everything. Everything about everything.
Now I see you understand. You are understanding the message of the old ones.
Yes.
Now tell me of mercy.
Mercy?
The most merciful thing in the world, I think, is the inability of the human mind to correlate all its contents. The sciences, each straining in its own direction, have hitherto harmed us little. But someday, the piecing together of disassociated knowledge will open up such terrifying vistas of reality and of our frightful position therein, that we shall either go mad from the revelation or flee from the deadly light into the peace and safety of a new dark age.
Wow. What a brilliant quote again. I love the way he's doing it. I love that. And I think that's like, that happens when you, like if you have questions like, where are we coming from? Where did the universe come from? Like, you might want an answer, but if you get the answer, that answer might not be what you wanted. Like, that might not be what you wanted. Like, take the Fermi paradox, and you probably know it, so I will not go into it too much. Like, why do we not see alien life in space? Like, why don't we detect it? And the answers to that is, like most of the answers to that question are horrifying. Like, there's this theory that, I think it's Dark Forest. I did a reaction to that once, I don't remember. It might have been Dark Forest. It is basically the idea that, every time a civilization like flares up like ours, like sends stuff into space, they're going, like, there will be another species that is dormant and stealthy. It will just kill us. Just kill us so no one else sees it, because there's something else out there that will take notice of us, and then something very horrible will happen, or something like that. I probably butchered that a lot, but you probably know it. So I would implore you, look it up if you're interested in it. Fermi Paradox, Dark Forest, I think it is called. Solution, like Dark Forest is as a solution to the Fermi Paradox. That's very, very, very terrible, like terrifying. Good old working room, or whatever it's called.
Ignorance at times can be bliss.
Oh, yeah.
For there is some knowledge in the universe that upon its revelation is maddening. This theme is best represented in the story The Call of Cthulhu. Francis Wayland Thurston
I don't know. Yeah,
and
perhaps.
what follows has been found amongst his papers. Francis has been the executor of his late grand...
That is true. I'm sorry, I will probably let this run more now, if you don't know the story. You should read it, though. And in Cthulhu, there's an idea of they get to know something that can be scary, yes.
Uncle's estate, a retired professor at Brown's University named George Crammel Angel. Among Angel's possessions, Francis finds a locked box that contains an odd clay sculpture.
Wow, that is the best. That is the best imagining of the sculpture that I've ever seen. Wow, look at the detail. Oh wow, can you 3D print this? Like, this looks awesome. I want that. Like, I would love to put that on my desk. My wife would hate me probably for that, but that is so cool. Wow.
A two-part manuscript entitled Cthulhu Cult. Francis studies the sculpture. It is an uncomfortable figure that looks like an octopus, dragon, and human combined.
Oh, yes.
The first part of Angel's manuscript, Francis learns how a sculptor from the Rhode Island School of Design named Henry A. Wilcox once showed up in Angel's office with this sculpture.
Yeah.
Speaking of strange dreams he had after an earthquake on March the 1st. On the night of March 22nd, Wilcox becomes feverish and delirious with images of cyclopean cities and a
If you know Lovecraft, you know cyclopean cities.
towering monster miles high. Francis finds that his great uncle has started recording the dreams of other participants at this time too, finding poets and artists to be the most likely to have experienced the same visions as Wilcox. He also finds newspaper clippings that record instances of a worldwide hysteria and unrest on March 22nd. Francis then recounts the second part of Angel's manuscript, noting that only Angel, not Wilcox, knew the true import of Wilcox's dreams. This document contains notes that in St. Louis in 1908, where a man produced a similar statuette. This was obtained on a raid on a voodoo ritual in Louisiana.
Yes, and if you read that story, you will see that it's uncomfortable from nowadays. But I still love it. Like, it's more like you laugh at it because it's so wrong what he writes, but it's the time. It's like, Jesus
the sculpture
Christ,
was
man.
also encountered among Inuit rituals in West Greenland. Amongst this research, Francis finds the phrase, "In the house of Riley, dead Cthulhu waits, dreaming." These events in Louisiana were unnerving and uncomfortable, and the mystery would only deepen in the discovery of a mass voodoo ritual, with dozens of men dancing among burning human remains arranged around an 8-foot effigy of the creature that was the sculpture.
Yes.
Out of many cultists that were apprehended, they find the testimony of a lucid elder named Old Castro most compelling. Old Castro talks about the Old Ones.
The Old
of
Ones.
Interstellar origins that once resided in great cyclopean cities.
Really, in cyclopeans, I'm sorry.
Which now
Such a meme
slumber
with
beneath the
Lovecraft, I'm sorry.
oceans, waiting to be activated by a chance of confluence or astrological and human affairs. In current-day Louisiana, Francis interviews the remaining prisoners from the raid, coming to uncomfortable conclusions. Francis begins to wonder whether knowing the truth is worth knowing at all.
Yes.
Perhaps the steps he takes may lead to his own death, or information that will shatter his reality. He tries to forget his task, but he accidentally stumbles upon an article about a lone survivor of a shipwrecked crew named Johansson.
Yes, and that is the point where the story for me will, like, I have to admit, unfortunately, that that story from the shipman is what makes this fall flat. I never liked the story. Like I love the setup. Like, till here, if you read it till here, it's like, wow, so mysterious. It's so weird. Why are these two freaky assholes dancing around the statue? Why is everyone mad? Why do they all have the same dream of this giant creature in the Cyclopean city? What is going on? Like, that's your feeling. And then there's the seaman. Sorry, there's the seaman. I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm sorry. There's the seafarer, whatever. So the seafarer tells the story here, and yeah, he will now tell us what he says. Let's go.
Also showing that same accursed sculpture. He travels to New Zealand to put his curiosities to rest. Locals in the articles had mentioned that the wrecked vessel had set sail hastily after an earthquake on March 1st. Francis pieces together that the same earthquake that triggered Henry Wilcox's dreams also sent the vessel cruising towards some unholy destination. The mystery to this story was becoming maddening. Links between the sculptures of a monster to the very ruptures in the earth. Francis begins to wonder what abominable truth was at the heart of this mystery.
Yes, like that's all great. Like I love that. That's so good. Brilliant setup. Brilliant setup.
These very thoughts was a background sense of dread. Francis then travels to Norway to interview Johansen directly, but he finds out from his widow that he is dead, possibly murdered. Johansen's widow bequeaths Johansen's personal diary to him, and Francis reads it to learn that Johansen and his men actually encountered an otherworldly monolith. Johansen's account describes a vast door on the monolith opening, and a horrific creature crawling out, murdering the crew, 2 of whom died of shock on the spot.
Yeah, like that's the part where it gets weak. Like they go to this, like in the story, they go to like when the earthquake comes, the ship like goes to this weird city which is scary AF, and it's weird and alien and strange, and there's this monolith, and then the door opens, which is like the monster in the dreams was 1,000 meters high probably, and their monster's like 5 meters or whatever, and it comes crawling out, and oh god, it's the same thing, and like to die of fear, even though it's just Cthulhu. Like we all know what it looks like. We all have depictions. I think Cthulhu is described too well by Lovecraft to make it this unspeakable horror thing. I don't know. Like, yeah. But anyway, let's continue the story.
This tale was almost too much to read, but Francis reads on, as Johansen describes frantically navigating the ship away from the island, as the eldritch creature pursues, with one other companion who eventually succumbs to madness and dies.
Yeah, and look at this picture. This would have been awesome. Like, imagine it would have been this big thing coming out. And, like, look at the little ship. Like, that would have been horrifying. It's not like that in the story, though. That's the problem. Like, this would have been exactly what should have happened.
Johansen only escapes by ramming the ship into the monster.
See? Okay. Like, you have the ship, beep, and then through, oh no, the ship has hit me. I have to go to sleep again. Go to sleep, gotta go to sleep. And then Cthulhu goes to sleep again. Like, that's the end of the story. Like, what the frick? So stupid, I'm sorry. I never liked that.
Francis is confounded by the dreaded discomfort of this knowledge. Paranoia consumes him.
Like, look at the ship. It's so small. How the fuck did they put it away with the little ship? Like it's like if an ant like jumped at me and I was like, oh god, the ant jumped at me. I have to go to sleep now for 1,000 years. Like, sorry too. I'm sorry. Cthulhu is Cthulhu and Dunwich are my least favorite Lovecraft stories. Actually, I'm sorry. It's a bit unfortunate that he took those two to illustrate it. I don't know, but. Like, if you think differently, please tell me in the comments. I would love to discuss this with you. Like, I know there are other opinions there. I know. So I'm probably on my own with these thoughts. But, you know, I will be honest always on this channel. So I just have to tell you, like, I never found that impressive here. That scene with the fucking ship ramming the stupid mountain god.
As he now knows that he is the target of this mysterious cult of Cthulhu. The price of the knowledge was madness.
Also, he left out the mad part, so the twist of the story. And as again, still, I implore you to read it. It's like a very interesting read. Like, and you have to have read it if you're a horror fan. I think you have to have read Cthulhu. But the twist is that Cthulhu dreams under the sea, and there are other things like that dream in the mountains, and they're like from a time like an old age, and like there was this event, I don't know what it was. I think it was the comet hitting and like killing dinosaurs or whatever. I don't really remember what it was. It's in one story that Lovecraft or a friend of his wrote after his death, and it's like basically these things, like they sleep now, and if they wake up they will take over the world and enslave humanity. Like, it's okay-ish horror. But it's basically just your normal Gene Stealer card story, if we are honest now. Like, like it's not that bad. Like, yes, humanity is enslaved, but it's not like reality rips apart. That can happen in Lovecraft lore, though. That can happen, but not with Cthulhu. Cthulhu is, as far as I know, just some asshole that runs around with some friends and enslaves people. Because he can. Like, okay, fine. It's like, yeah. Oh, what's that? Oh god, what's that?
Much like the roots of insanity in Lovecraft, the Warhammer universe has madness tied up with the incomprehensible powers of the dark gods of the Immaterium.
Yeah,
we see much like with the cult of Cthulhu. Many dark sects of blasphemous worship appear throughout the Imperium, worshipping entities they cannot truly understand.
But it's better done. It's so much better done in Warhammer. I am surprised to say this, like Warhammer does this better than Lovecraft does, even though it's Lovecraftian horror. Because in Warhammer, the weird shit stuff from Chaos can be like all kinds of stupid, weird shit that you can't really kill. Like you can shoot it, like you could ram a ship into it, but it would probably just reform into some more horrific thing and come back with 1,000 of its friends and like kill you. It wouldn't just go to sleep.
There are cults that in general worship all 4 of the main dark gods of the ruinous pantheon.
You know what I would love to do if I would know more about Warhammer? Like I know some stuff now, pretty much. Like I'm not a noob anymore. I feel like I slowly have lost the noobness now. Like slowly, I still am a noobish, but not a complete noob. But I would love to write a Cthulhu equivalent story in the Warhammer world, but with a different ending. And I would have them send like a message of, yeah, they're overwhelming us now, like more are coming or whatever. Like that would be my ending for that story then. And I would love to write something like that. Like it would probably be a short story, but if I knew more about Warhammer, I think I will do that one day if I feel more comfortable. Because I think in Warhammer you can do the Cthulhu mythos story a lot better than it was done by Lovecraft. Even though, I mean, you have to keep in mind the time he wrote it at, and he was legendary visionary. He was like, always keep in mind that he was the first who thought about stuff like this really. Like you can, okay, Poe did some stuff that was creepy, but Lovecraft really started this horrific stuff. You know what I mean? And these ideas he started, and others. I mean, there are 1,000 people after him, billions of people. They took his thoughts and they refined them, so to speak. That's how I see it. Like Lovecraft was a genius and a pioneer.
These individuals, much like with the Lovecraftian cults, seek to perform rituals in reverence to the ruinous powers, echoing mad screams and chants as they become raptured with the knowledge and influence of the Immaterium.
Yes.
The outside begins to reflect the rotten heart within. And there are many bodies that begin to mutate with tentacles, extra limbs, extra eyes, or an assortment of other deformities. As one goes further down the rabbit hole of chaos dedication in the cult, they are on the very tip of the insane.
Yes.
For those cults that dedicate themselves to a particular chaos god, they are affected by new and unique blessings of their patron. Cornate corruption blesses its adherents with mind-numbing rage,
yes,
finally snapping any sense of self or sanity, hulking brutes prone to twitching and violent outbursts.
Again, the emotional theme has materialized in the world, muscles and brute force.
Those affected by the blessings of Nurgle replace any sensibilities in the face of rot and decay with euphoria, granting a painless existence bathed in the beauty of self-decay.
Yeah.
For those affected by Slaneshi corruption, sanity is broken by pleasure through pain and excess. Any sensation is heightened to incomprehensible levels, leaving its cultists to descend into madness and depravity. And finally, Tzeentch. Francis Thurston in The Call of Cthulhu shows that it was his unreasonable curiosity that led to the knowledge that he was not prepared for.
I think knowledge you're not prepared for is better depicted like when it is like, I know now, I know the truth, I've seen it written in the words on the page, I read them and I understood. They like that's a, like, you know, I'm just making stuff up, of course, but that would be a madness I find scary and psychotic and intriguing. But I don't like madness like I know the truth of the world. We are living in an apple. Like, if they actually state what the truth is, that's not as scary. It can be, like, if let's say we find out that the universe is a simulation, and we definitely find that out, and someone finds that out and knows, like in Extremis from Doctor Who, like, that is scary as well. I have to be fair. But mostly it's not too scary, because what people think of when they are like, okay, this is the knowledge that's scary, and they give you the knowledge, like, and they write it down, it's not that scary as if someone was just going down and like making weird remarks and giving hints to some underlying terror. I don't know.
For any cultists of Tzeentch, this is most certainly a fate that awaits most of them. The blessings of the Changer of Ways can be a trove of knowledge for the curious, but like with Francis, sometimes ignorance can be bliss.
Yeah, sometimes.
For the curse that comes with this blessing is knowledge that destroys your take upon reality.
By the way, this might derail the video a bit. Like, I'm not going to talk about it. I want to know. It might be a weird question. Would you care if we were in a simulation? Like, because nothing would change. Like, why does it matter? You still die and live. Why does it matter? I never got that. Like, is it because someone can like suddenly like press a button on the simulation and you were like, I have no mouth and I must scream? Is that the horror? Like, that would be horror. Like, that's something I find horrific. But just knowing this is all not real, like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. I have to live anyway. So, like, why should I care? I don't know. What do you think about that? Because that's basically the fear they speak about here.
As the arrogant delve into the power of change, they may find that they are prone to its repercussions. For those that delve too deep unprepared, there's the
That's little hands. Oh, it looks so cute. Look at it. Oh, it looks so cute. It looks a bit like Rover from One Punch Man being eaten by Rover from One Punch Man, though the second Rover is a scorpion, the first Rover is a dog, and you've got a little bit of a weird T-Rex man inside. I love, like, I'm sorry, this is horrifying, but it looks so derpy. I would love to see that running around, making its merry way across the battlefield, killing people, eating them, being happy. Like, look, it looks so happy. I don't know why. It looks pretty happy here. I'm glad for it. It's probably having a lot of fun right now.
Possibility of transforming into Chaos Spawn, a blubbering mess of deformed, mutated flesh, with a completely insane host, lost to howling and mumbling nonsense, not a single thread of sanity left. If only they had taken the comfort in their ignorance, many people would have been spared these horrible fates.
They would have been spared turning into a robot dinosaur asshole running around the battlefield being happy with eating people. I'm sorry. It's very horrifying. It is horrifying. I'm sorry. It looks so derpy. I love it. I want it. I want a replica of that. I love it. I love the design. It's brilliant, but it doesn't have the effect on me that it's supposed to have. But okay, I'm done now, I think. I think that's a horrific fate. Like, don't get me wrong, that's horrific. Sorry, horrific. Look at the fucking face. What the fuck is that? It's still there. Why would you stop showing it? It's so stupid. Stop. Okay, thank you. Oh, Nyarlathotep. I don't know that much about him. I like him, though. I think it's the priest asshole that goes through villages and making people weird.
Fear, mercy, now dedication.
Dedication.
Tell me what you have read of our Lord.
And when Nyarlathotep went, rest vanished, for the small hours were rent with the screams of nightmare.
Good, my
Where
child.
is that from?
As if beckoned by those who had gone before, I half floated between the titanic snowdrifts, quivering and afraid into the sightless vortex of the unimaginable.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cosmic. Pretty cosmic horrific.
Nyarlathotep, the crawling chaos.
Yeah, but wasn't he a priest dude that was weird and everyone was like hypnotized and killed themselves down the line? I love that picture as well. Like, this is freaky. Like, Nyarlathotep is like the most tangible thing, but also one of the scariest, I think. Like, look at that asshole.
The
So
Great
scary.
Manipulator is one of the greatest creations of Lovecraftian horror.
Yeah, I agree.
Nyarlathotep differs from the other deities in the mythos in a number of ways. Most of the outer gods are exiled to the stars, like Yog-Sothoth, or locked in eternal slumber like Azathoth.
Is Azathoth locked though? I think he's just sleeping because he wants to. And I think if I recall correctly, like the universe is its dream, so we are Azathoth. And I think in World of Warcraft, that's the plot twist as well, like Azeroth, because they have word plays on Lovecraftian gods as well, and deities, and old ones. I think Azeroth also is itself like the whole universe is dreamt up by this thing called Azeroth, though the planet's named that as well. Anyway, I digress. I really like Nyarlathotep. Before he says anything why, I like him because he's tangible, as I said, because he's a bit of an asshole, like he's a troll a bit, like he's a bit trollish, and he intervenes a lot, and it's just some fun with people.
And most of the great old ones are sleeping and dreaming, like...
Oh man, that's so disgustingly scary. I would love this to appear in a horror movie. Whoever painted this, thank you so much. Like, if this was Cthulhu, imagine that. Imagine Cthulhu was like this. Like, it has tentacles there. Like, this would fit the description as well. But it's very creative. Oh, that's so eerie. I love it.
Cthulhu, only leeching out through the dreams of humans. Most of the dark entities of the Lovecraftian universe are uncaring creatures beyond that of human understanding.
Yeah, they just don't care.
The form of man as we see ants.
Yeah,
however,
even worse.
Nyarlathotep is active and frequently walks the earth in the guise of a human being.
Yeah, he's
usually a tall, slim, joyous man. Though you would be gravely mistaken to comprehend him as human in any meaningful sense. For contained within that human form is a possible 1,000 other forms and manifestations.
Yeah, this makes him so awesome. I love Nyarlathotep.
Most of them quite horrific and sanity-defying.
Yeah.
His various forms range from monstrous, thick-furred creatures to masses of writhing eyes and mutated flesh.
Yeah, I love it. You know, why did they never make a movie from Nyarlathotep? Like, that would land itself so well. Like, imagine a city and, like, this dude comes in and he should be played by someone that's a bit creepy and weird. Perhaps Robert Carlyle could play him. Like, Robert Carlyle or Simon Baker. I think it's Simon Baker. Those two, I could see them play Nyarlathotep brilliantly. And then some things start happening in the city. And he's sometimes there and sometimes not. And sometimes there's this screech and stuff. And wow, it would be so cool. Why have they never done that?
Many of these outer gods draw the attention of blasphemous worship due to their power that they wield. Or the influence that they seep out into the world. Though most outer gods are completely uncaring of their followers, Nyarlathotep serves several cults and takes care of their affairs in the other outer gods' absence.
Yeah, you know why? Because he can. Because it's fun for him. Because he loves trolling.
Most other outer gods use strange alien languages, while Nyarlathotep is capable of human language and can easily pass for a human being if he chooses to do so. There is no doubt that the outer gods are all powerful, yet most of the time this catastrophic power is directionless. But what makes the crawling chaos so dangerous is his love for manipulation and deceit. An existence with absolute power could be boring. No challenges, no conflict. This is why Nyarlathotep loves to pull the strings of fate, toying with mortals like pieces on a chessboard.
I love him, he's such a troll.
Imagine that you find misfortune, suffering tragic events one after another. Everything you care for is lost, and you are struck by how powerless you are to change your fate.
Yeah, it is the notion of something willingly doing that, because normally if really bad stuff like a disease of a loved one or a sudden death or like things you think that are natural but terrible, if you find out there's something behind them willingly doing them to you and to everyone you love, that's so horrific and terrible.
As you descend the steps of madness, you find the architect of fate a figure you knew all along, laughing maniacally as he snaps the final strings of your sanity. This is Nyarlathotep,
Oh yes,
playing with
that's
us like children do toys. But it is suggested that when he finally does grow bored of these games, he will destroy the human race and possibly the Earth as well.
Yeah, so, but that again is nothing that, like, it's frightening but not scary. I don't know if the words are correct that I'm using here. You know, it's like, okay, we're all gone. Like, we all will die anyway. Like, where's the horror? Like, yes, it's terrible. Like, it's terrifying, but it's not horror, I think. I don't know. It might count as, yeah, it probably still counts as horror. But yeah, okay, so it's like, one day he will be like, okay, I'm bored, bye. And then we're just gone. Okay, fine.
Nyarlathotep's first appearance is in the eponymous short story by Lovecraft, in which he is described as a tall, swarthy man who resembles an Egyptian pharaoh.
Yeah.
In this story, he wanders the earth, gathering legions of followers through his demonstrations of strange and seemingly magical instruments.
Yeah, so he's basically this Gleeman, something like a Gleeman from Wheel of Time, but a bit more corrupted. Like, I imagine Pat and Fane being a lot like him. Like, it's a cross between Pat and Fane and Tom, if you are a Wheel of Time fan.
The narrator of this story is among them. These followers lose any awareness of the world around them, and through the narrator's increasingly unreliable accounts, we begin to sense the destruction of the world around us.
That is a nice picture of Nyarlathotep.
The narrator as part of an army of servants for the crawling chaos. In the story, the dream quest of unknown Kadath, again the outer god man.
Oh no, I have not read that yet. It is still on my shelf. I want to read it, so I hope I don't get spoiled too much.
Manifested in the form of an Egyptian pharaoh.
Oh, he's there. Interesting.
Randolph Carter. He explains to Carter that the gods of the Dreamlands have seen the city of Carter's dreams. Nyarlathotep attempted to steal a golden city created by the dreams of Randolph Carter, leaving us, the reader, to question the blur between dream and reality.
Why would he care for a dream city? That's, again, a bit random. It's like, oh, you've got the dream city? I will take it because I'm a dick. Is it like that? I hope not. I really hope not. Like, I don't know. I think if creatures use dreams to hunt you down and do something, they should have other motives than to troll you if it's supposed to be horrific. Otherwise, it's more like, okay, you're a weirdo, thanks.
We leave the story with Randolph managing to wake himself up, thus denying Nyarlathotep his golden city.
Wouldn't he be able to just make him sleep again and force him into the dream again? Like, what? So humans have agency and power against them? I think I get the suspicion that Lovecraft did not fully commit to his idea of humans can't fight these cosmic things, even though it's always said that he was like this guy for hopelessness and stuff like that, but he never really had that in his stories, I think. Or did he? Like, in the end, someone survives, and I would have to think more about that, because there is indeed a bit of hope here. Like, he beat him, and they beat Cthulhu as well. Like, why? Because it was custom to have a happy ending in those times? I don't know. It's weird.
But
Tell me if you know.
It's impossible to say, given the godlike power
what is
this
that?
creature possesses.
I love it.
Whether he allowed this as part of a greater scheme.
Yeah, perhaps. Oh, look at the galaxy in the background. Oh, it looks so cool. What are you, trumpet guy?
Tzeentch,
Oh,
the
okay.
changer of ways, the patron of sorcery.
Oh, I love it when there are eyes and hands. I love it. Also, it looks like his head looks like the trumpets you get in Elden Ring.
Knowledge, scheming, and most importantly, change.
Change.
Tzeentch is empowered by our desire for evolution, improvement, innovation, and progress, and most importantly, ambition.
Yes.
The crawling chaos mirrors Nyarlathotep heavily in the Warhammer universe. Though they have their differences, the similarities are more numerous. Tzeentch is known as the Great Conspirator, and works to corrupt the aspirations and ambitions of mankind
what are you?
and Xenos alike, and to leverage these hopes and dreams for his own ends.
Love it.
The other gods of the Immaterium often prefer the more direct approach. Khorne with bloodshed and slaughter, Nurgle with disease and decay, and Slaanesh with the allure of ecstasy and decadence.
One question, please tell me in the comments. Why are there why do we have these avatar pictures? Like these pictures here, they are like, we know they don't have shape or form. Like, what are they? Where do they come from? How canonical are they? Because I always see Nurgle as a fat asshole with a kettle, and I always see Slanesh looking great. Yes, she looks great. We all know that. Like, I never said it. Yes, obviously she appeals to people. Like, but why? Like, how do we know she looks like that? Is it like because every artist like has these there are these commonalities between them. Like, there have been different depictions of like Slanesh and Nurgle I've seen. I've not seen the other ones that much, but those two I've seen a lot of, and they always look similar. Why? How do we know why? I thought they did not have shape and they were just the shapes that people imagined them to be. So yeah, that still fits, but can you clear that up a bit? That would be very cool. Thank you so much.
However, like Nyarlathotep, Tzeentch relishes in the subtle manipulation, often using underlings and disguises to slowly nudge their victims towards his own agenda. Many a politician, scholar, military officer, or any other leader has begun a promising career, a worthwhile project, an intellectual investigation, only to find himself, perhaps by a seemingly well-intentioned colleague, nudged in the right direction, perhaps delving into forbidden tactics to satiate a hunger for knowledge, or information useful to overtake a rival. This power of change leads to the inevitable escalation.
Yes.
Leading on to possibly self-mutation, the enactments of dark rituals ending in the disastrous spread of rampant change.
One question, why does no one of Tzeentch or whatever, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce his name, why don't they grow more brain? Like, wouldn't that be a design that would fit like them growing more brain mass everywhere? Wouldn't that be something? Why is that not a thing? I know there's no answer to that. It's just something I'm just wondering about myself. Like, if I would have designed the thing that's like madness, corruption, and stuff like that, I would design like brainy stuff everywhere.
Much like the domain of power for Nyarlathotep in the Dreamlands, Tzeentch possesses his own realm of the inconceivable. Of all the landscapes of the warp, the change of ways is by far the most bizarre and incomprehensible, for its crystalline structures force travelers to view all 9 dimensions simultaneously.
Oh,
this
9?
effect not only distorts the senses of any
So string theory is wrong? That's
also
sad.
pull apart the purpose and aspirations and turn them into insanity and despair.
Yes.
Only known to a handful is the cursed knowledge to traverse this crystalline maze.
Oh,
and
that's
if one
cool.
was by some miracle to approach the center, they would find the impossible fortress. Within this fortress, time and space does not exist at all.
Interesting. What does that mean? But I thought it was nowhere anyway in the warp.
And gravity shifts and changes or disappears altogether. Lights of every color, some even unknown in the real universe, spring from the shifting walls. At last, if you were cursed enough to find yourself here, in the physical or dreaming, you would find the architect of it all, Tzeentch itself.
Why does Tzeentch... He looks so different now. What is going on?
Like Nyarlathotep, the crawling chaos's true form is a mystery. You may find a writhing mass of serpents, eyes and mouths, a tentacled alien beast, or simply a harmless figure. It would depend entirely on how this mad god wishes you to attempt to perceive him. While Tzeentch is distinctly his own, the inspiration from this ever subtly scheming, all-powerful Nyarlathotep has played a role in the creation of this deity.
I love this design as well. Looks like very Guillermo del Toro-esque.
What do you think? Let me know down in the comments any more links between the fantastic world of Lovecraftian horror and the Warhammer universe.
I think Dagon is a superior story to Cthulhu, by the way, even though it came before. I feel like Cthulhu was like... There was this retread by Lovecraft, like it was again the ocean thing, because he was afraid of the ocean. I get that he has a lot of ocean terror in his stories, but Dagon is a lot more weird and mystic and terrifying and alien, and Cthulhu is like, I've told you before now, like I've told you at length what I think about the Cthulhu story and its ending especially. So yeah, Dagon is a lot better. I love Dagon. Dagon is up there with my favorites.
And stay tuned for part 2. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
That's true. To him and to me.
And comment down below if you want to help me with the algorithm.
Oh, that is a thing. Yeah, I've heard that. So if you want to help me as well, comment down below. It will help with the algorithm, apparently. I don't know if it does, but yeah. So that was very cool. There's a part 2. I will not do that in the near future, I think. Wait, let me... Okay, that was fun. Awesome. Like, I love that. I hope I didn't ramble too much in this one. Like, horror is such a passion for me. That's why sometimes I don't know if all I'm talking about is that interesting to you. But anyway, I will just keep doing it like this. I will just tell you my thoughts as always. And as I said, like, I was a bit critical about the Dunwich Horror and Cthulhu today, because I am. I will not shit you. Like, if I don't like something that much, I will tell you. But think of it this way, like, I mostly love Warhammer 40k, so and it's not about 40k, so I love Warhammer 40k, and I never really have criticisms about it that much, which shows you I love it. It's cool, it's a great universe. And as I said, I think it's Lovecraft refined. That's how I would put it. I love it more. I love it a bit more than the Lovecraft universe. Though I love Lovecraft's writing a lot, and I haven't seen good horror writing in 40k yet. I'm sure it is out there, but I've just not read stuff here. Like, that's why. So yeah, that was very, very fun. So if you liked my horror ramblings and my thoughts on this, tell me if you want part 2. Like, if you even want it, because I know this was a bit different than before, because it was not only 40k, it was also Lovecraft and horror in general and stuff like that. So, like, I love talking about it. Like, I absolutely love it. But if you say it's boring to you, like, I will not do part 2. But I loved this. I also loved Amber King. So give him a shout. I will give him a shout out now. Shout out Amber King, you great. Thank you for the video. I love the quotes you picked as well. Like, these channel creator people, they're very good at picking quotes. I like that a lot. What is your favorite horror story of Lovecraft, by the way? Please tell me in the comments as well. And with that, we are through. Yes, as I said, if you want to check out my little horror project that I've got running, look into the comments. It will be pinned there. And I would be very, very glad if you would support that, because then at least some people are seeing it. You know, it's like at least some people are. Anyway, have a great day and see you soon with... I have this battle video. I don't know what battle it is, and Blood Angels will be soon as well. And Last Church, I promise. I know I always promise Last Church. But I've got more, I've got some free days coming up, several actually, and I will finally have the time to do it. I swear, like, hearts crossed, I swear I will do Last Church soon. Sorry that it took so long, but it's very long and I really need to focus on it anyway. Have a great day. See you soon. Bye.